Hi, today I'll be talking about my library that I created for class. It's a library that consists of 9 different shelves with different genres. The first genre I'm going to talk about is biography. In the biography tab, I chose to talk about Little Women, or I'm sorry, Little Leaders, Bold Women in Black History. I thought it was a great book to bring into the classroom because not only does it talk about women that made a difference, but it's also introducing Black history. So I think it'd be great to have as an introduction to like Black History Month and start to get students to realize that there are important leaders in this world. And then my next shelf I want to talk about is diverse population. In the diverse population, I chose to talk about all kinds of families. I liked this book too because it not only talks about families being big or small, but it also talks about the groups of families and how they all correspond with each other. So not only does it talk about people, but it also talks about like objects. So spoons and knives and forks are part of the silverware family. So it just kind of gives students an idea of what a family could be or what it means. Um, and then my next tab I'm going to talk about is fantasy. In fantasy, I chose to talk about crayons and the day the crayons quit. I really like this book because it kind of gives students a little story about how crayons like to be treated, and I think it'd be great to bring in like on a first day of school to talk about with the children. Just a quick book to read. Um, my next shelf I'm going to be talking about is in folklore. In folklore, I'm talking about a book that I have personally read. It's called Book of Greek Myths, and it's just another great book to have in the classroom so that students can kind of get a general idea of like what different mythologies there are. So Greek goddesses and gods, and how ancient Greece believed in all these different things, and it's just a great book, I think. My next one is in graphic novels, and this one was a little bit harder for me to find a book I enjoyed. I haven't read much graphic novels growing up, so when I was looking for books in this shelf, it was a little bit harder for me because as soon as I associated graphic novels, I thought of superheroes and, like boy comic books. So um, I ended up choosing one that I really liked, and I found that this one worked best for me, as I think I would have read it when I was younger. But it's Beauty and the Beast, so it's I think it's would be great in the classroom as well because it definitely can appeal to other people, like me, for example. Um, anybody can. It gives them a little bit more variety to read, other than like superheroes and stuff like that. So my next one is informational. And in the informational tab, I really liked where this book had come from. It was just specifically on penguins, but I really liked that it came from the National Geographic for Kids. I liked this one because they have a ton of different variety of other books that are easier for the kids to understand. And it provides the same information as it would like for an adult reading about these books, but it kind of just puts them in kid terms. My next one is in poetry, and in poetry, I actually had a hard time choosing between one, so I made a focus on two. The two that I really, really enjoyed was The Ghost of Miss Annabel Lee Spoon and Edgar Allan Poe's Tales of Mystery and Madness. I loved these two books because they're not like normal poetry books like Dr. Seuss where everything's happy and bright. These are kind of darker, and I really liked that because they might appeal to students who have a hard time and don't really want to read something like Green Eggs and Ham, but they want to see something with a little bit more darkness and they like the spooky feeling. So I thought these would be great like around Halloween time or something like that. Um, my next one is in realistic fiction. In realistic fiction, I chose to talk about No David. No David's obviously about a student who just refuses to listen, and I think every teacher can relate to that. And I think the students sometimes know when they're not listening, so it's another great book to probably read in front of the class, like maybe a introduction to school and stuff like that. Maybe when we're talking about class rules or stuff. Um, my next one is science fiction. In science fiction, I found one that's just a classic that would be great to have in the classroom. I personally want it in my classroom, The Adventures of Captain Underpants. I thought this is a great book because it's just fun to read. I think the kids like it. The fact that he's in underwear and he's a superhero, it's kind of great. My next one is in a historical book. In historical fiction, I personally like the book Meet Caroline. I know this one's it's a little bit different. This comes from a series of American Girl. They produce like a lot of different books about different girls who are just going through different stuff, and other characters I think too. But they also all take up um, they take a part in like something that's happened in the world. So this is during the British and American War. So all these books are, they correspond to something that's happened. But other than that, this is my library. Thank you for watching.